Shalom, לבני ישראל, לישראליתים בהרבות כנפות של הארץ. כן, אסף בנמי קריספין לוי, אשר מדבר איתכם, ואני הייתי רוצה להמשיך ללימודים של תורה. Well, here the elder Assaf Benami Crispin Levi, which speak with you, and I would like to greet all the Israelites and be in the four corners of the earth, originally in Israel. Well, we're going to continue with the mitzvot of the Torah. We stopped at the item number 112. We speak about ritual purity. And now we're going to the item number 113. The ashes of the red heifer are to be used in ritual purification. Okay, let's go to the text. Numbers, Bemidbar 19, Numbers, Bemidbar 19, chapter 19, verse 12 to 9. The ashes of the red heifer are to be used in ritual purification. This is a law of the Torah, which Yahweh has commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they bring you a red heifer, a perfect one, in which there is no blemish, and on which a yoke has never come. And you shall give it to the Eleazar, the priest, the Kohen, and he shall bring it outside the camp, and shall slaughter it before him. And Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times toward the front of the tent of meeting. And the heifer shall be burned before his eyes. He burns its hide, and its flesh, and its blood, and its dung. And the priest shall take cedar wood, and hyssop, and scarlet, and throw them into the midst of the fire, burning the heifer. The priest shall then wash his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and afterward come into the camp. But the priest is unclean until evening. And he who is burning it, wash his garments in water, and shall bathe his body in water, and is unclean until evening. And a clean man shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and shall place them outside the camp in a clean place, and they shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel. For the water for uncleanness, it is for cleansing from sin. Well, and this item very important because it speaks about the purification of the sins of Israel people, and the ashes of the red heifer are to be used in ritual purification. This is a law of the Torah, okay. And the Eternal One speak to the children of Israel, saying, speak to the children of Israel, that they bring you a red heifer, a perfect one. There couldn't be no blemish on it, in which there be no blemish, and on which a yoke has never come. And that this red heifer didn't work before. Well, why that? Because this, or each, would be for the purification of the children of Israel. And it has given to the Eleazar, the priest, the Kohen, one of the Aaron's children, and he made the killing of the red heifer, and with his blood, he springs 7 times in front of the tent of meat. This was the first part. First, the Eleazar, the priest, the Kohen, and killed this heifer, and he takes some blood from it, and with his finger, he sprinkle 7 times toward the front of the tent of meeting to purify the tent of meeting. Why purify it? Because entered some persons, for person during the day, and sometimes one of them treads on one impure things. And because that the Eternal One ordered that to be done for the children of Israel. Well, and the heifer shall be burned before his eyes. He burns its hide, and its flesh, and its blood, and its dung. Hide, flesh, blood, and its dung. The heifer would be burned afterwards. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, and throw them in the midst of the fire, burning the wafer. And you mix it up these things. And the priest shall then wash his garments, and shall bury his body in water, and afterwards come into the camp, but the priest is unclean until evening. And after all these procedures, the priest or the Kohen, he took off his garments, and he should take a bath, and he was impure until the evening. And he who is burning it, wash his garments in water, and shall bury his body in water, and it's unclean until evening. And a clean man shall gather up the ashes of their heifer, and shall place them outside the camp in a clean place, and they shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel, for the water for uncleanness. And then this water, it would be guarded for the purification of the children of Israel. Well, let's see this item in the oral law. Item number 113. The ashes of the red fire are to be used in ritual purification. Bereshit 15, 9 to 13. Bereshit, chapter 15. Bereshit, chapter 15. Verse 9 to 13. Let's read it. And he said to him, bring me a 3-year-old heifer, and a 3-year-old female goat, and a 3-year-old ram, and a turtle-dove, and a young pigeon. And he took all of these to him, and cut them in the middle, and he placed each half opposite the other, but he did not cut the birds. And the birds of prey came down on the carcass, and Abraham drove them away. And it came to be when the sun was going down, and a deep sleep fell upon Abraham, that a frightening great darkness fell upon him. And he said to Abraham, know for certain that you are to be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. And you can see here that in the midst of these animals or birds that Abraham prepared to offer the offering to Eternal One was one heifer, and perhaps symbolizing the red heifer that it's written in the Torah of Moshe. Okay. Well, let's read now this item 113 in the time of Yahushua. Hebrew 9, 13, 14. Hebrew. Let's read the book of Hebrew. Hebrew 9. (13 to 14). For the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of a heifer, sprinkled the defiled, sets apart for the cleansing of the flesh. How much more shall the blood of the Messiah, who through the everlasting Spirit offered himself unblemished to Elohim, cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve the living Elohim. Then the blood of Yahushua completed this time that when the sacrifice was taken out, as said the prophet Daniel in the 70 weeks. 70 weeks will be determined upon my people, and then we will take off the Messiah. Then Yahushua thrown his dam for us to clean us. Then the sacrifice of the red heifer and the symbolize the sacrifice of Yahushua. Well, now let's go to the item number 114. 114. Now we're going to the titles and offerings to the temple of Yahweh. The priest, item number 114, the priest must set the value of a person dedicated to Yahweh. Vaikra 27, verses 2 to 8. And they stood before Moshe and before Eleazar the priests and before the leaders and all the congregation by the doorway of the tent of meeting, saying, Our father died in the wilderness, yet he was not in the company of those who were met together against Yahweh in company with Korah, but he died in his own sin, and he had no son. Why should the name of our father be removed from among his clan? Because he had no son. Give us a possession among the brothers of our father. Moshe then broke their case before Yahweh. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, The daughters of Zelophehad speak what is right. You should certainly give them a possession of inheritance among their father's brother, and cause the inheritance of their father to pass to them. And speak to the children of Israel, saying, When a man dies and has no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter. Verses 25, And he laid his hand on him, and commissioned him as Yahweh commanded by the hand of Moshe. Then the priest must set the value of a person dedicated. We can see this text of the daughters of Zelophehad, and we're going to see in the Vaikra 27, and afterwards I'm going to comment the two chapters. Vaikra 27, 2:8. Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When a man separates a vow by your evaluation of lives unto Yahweh, then your evaluation is of a male from 20 years old up to 6 years old, then your evaluation shall be 50 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the set-aparted place. And if it is a female, then your evaluation shall be 30 shekels, or shekelings. And if from 5 years old up to 20 years old, then your evaluation for a male shall be 20 shekels, and for a female, 10 shekels. And if from a month old up to 5 years old, then your evaluation for a male shall be 5 shekels of silver. And for a female, your evaluation shall be 3 shekels of silver. And if from 6 years old and above it's a male, then your evaluation shall be 15 shekels, and for a female, 10 shekels. But if he is too poor to pay your evaluation, then he shall present himself before the priest, and the priest shall set a value for him, according to the ability of him who vowed, the priest shall value him. Well, we don't have more time to comment these two texts, but I promise you that in the next study I will comment it. Shalom לכולם, על כל בני ישרו, עד רעיון רמישי רבה. שלום לכל בני ישרו.